Hello everyone, this is Jason Petrozello at Adrenaline Vault, and I'm giving a voiceover review of the tactical battles in Takeda 3. I wanted to take our readers through every step of a tactical battle, including the opening selection of a formation all the way to the end where you award rewards to your general. So let's get started and take a look at what happens when you first engage an enemy. You see the screen pop up. We see an initial screen that simply tells us who the generals are, what clans they are a part of, and the relative strength of the opposing forces, which gives us the option to auto-resolve the battle. Once we accept manual resolution for the battle, we see a screen that shows us who the various commanders are for the divisions of our army at the top of the screen, while at the lower right hand of the screen you're going to see a time of day indicator and a weather and climate function. You can also see that I've been cycling through the various formations that are available to me on this map. Now I'm going to select the Hidden Dragon formation as I'm the attacker, and I'm under the assumption that my enemy is going to be more defensive. I then begin to assign commanders and their divisions to various parts of the formation. You will notice I've placed two commanders on the slots that are to the right and to the left. Those are the detachment slots, and we're going to see what effect that has during the battle. But those two divisions are not going to appear on the battlefield initially. They are going to attempt a flanking action during battle. The rest of the units I've arranged in the formation as best I can. And I've chosen to attack in the morning. Since I'm the attacker, I get the option to choose. The time of day will have an impact on climate and weather, as we're going to see in just a minute. As you can see, despite the time of day I've chosen to fight, it is snowing. This is going to hamper visibility, and it's going to hamper the effectiveness of my Tepo, or musket, units. I'm going to scroll around the battlefield and just take a look at where my enemies are, and you can also look in the upper right-hand corner at the mini-map. Now, at the moment, I'm feeling very confident in myself, because I've chosen an offensive formation, but as I'm quickly beginning to see, my enemy has also chosen to be offensive rather than to sit and defensively wait for me to appear. His armies are marching across the field to come and attack me. Now, those two divisions I sent off as detachments will at some point in this battle attempt to appear on the enemy's flanks. I'll get messages from them. For example, Shima just showed up on the flank of the battlefield. He's not actually on the battlefield, he's on the left flank. I'm going to hold him back from attacking until the enemy's fully engaged with me. What he's going to do is come around from behind and try and take out the headquarters. I've just issued my war drums, which are increasing the morale of my army as we are making our initial contact with the enemy. He's hitting me on the left. As I'm still under the impression that I need to be fully on the offensive, I'm not going to sit and just wait. I'm going to send my armies on the right out to meet his forces. It was at this point, when I was initially running the battle, that I realized something was going wrong. Because despite the fact that I felt I had the advantage, we really weren't making any progress. And you've already noticed that one of my division commanders is starting to retreat. I cannot order him back into battle. He gets to make the choice whether he runs away or not. Still, we are inflicting plenty of casualties on the enemy, and I have no reason to feel bad about what's going on yet. Now, for those who are wondering about what I'm doing with the camera, I'm keeping it focused on the middle of the battle because that's where I think it's most important for me to keep track of things. Part of the reason is because I think most of the action is in the middle, but I'm also keeping track of his headquarters way at the other end of the battlefield. My goal is to try and sucker out his reserve so that I can send Sheila in from the left and take out his headquarters for a swift victory. But things are not going according to plan. We've already seen a second one of my generals attempt to retreat despite my orders. The action on the left of my own formation is getting to be pretty hectic. At the same time, you can see the enemy is starting to march one of their reserve divisions forward. I've just punched my war drums again. I only do them a limited number of times per battle, and I'm doing them now because I think I've got the enemy where I want it. I'm going to wait a few more moments and then send Shima in, which I've just done. And you can see he showed up right where that little box is. That box represents where the enemy's headquarters is. The enemy posts his flags and his commander there. Shima is beginning to overrun the enemy's headquarters. Unfortunately, we're getting messages that the enemy has also decided to flank me as well. The detachment I had on the right flank has delayed theirs, but they have another one that's coming in. So the computer has pulled the same trick that I have pulled. Furthermore, you'll notice that some of my generals are no longer on the lower portion of the interface. That's because they've withdrawn completely from the battle. They've taken enough casualties and the morale of their units is broken. The battle is now becoming a race of time, whether my flanking action with my cavalry under the command of General Shima is going to wipe out the enemy headquarters before the rest of my army collapses. The bad thing about retreating divisions is that when they retreat through the ranks of friendly units, the friendly units will also begin to be frightened and will have a chance to flee, which is unfortunately what has happened. A substantial number of my troops have fled because they saw their friends fleeing. However, it goes that same way for the enemy, and the enemy is suffering severe morale problems now as well. And that's the message I've been looking for. Shima has cut down the flags of the enemy's headquarters, which means he's completely wiped out the headquarters of the enemy army. This is going to be a blow from which the enemy army cannot recover, which is a good thing, because I've only got 3 divisions left on the battlefield. Shima's cavalry, my personal retinue of my commander, and 1 other division who managed to hold in place. We're going to advance forward and march on to victory. You see, we have barely escaped being defeated at this time. But as you can see when in my review where I mentioned that the game is elegant, this is what I'm talking about, where it's not important just to inflict casualties, but to apply strategies at the right time with the right commanders. And good commanders certainly deserve to be rewarded. If you win a battle, you get to a screen like this, where you can level up your commanders with the experience. You see the little red arrows poking up from 2 of my leaders. But if you also notice, I'm taking these little green tokens and placing them on the portraits of commanders. I just placed one on the portrait of Shima for his excellent flanking action. Giving your commanders rewards by placing the green tokens on them levels them up a little faster, and allows you to recognize the bravery of those who've actually performed well in combat. Numata here also was the other commander who stood in place despite the rest of the army fleeing, and he certainly deserves a reward for that. Now, the person I just leveled up is the leader of my clan, who is also leader of the army. It's a victory for him, so he deserves to level himself up as well. And we get to the screen that shows us what the results of the battle was. And that's the end of the video portion of my review for Takeda 3. For the rest of my review, go ahead and go to Adrenaline Vault and take a look at my review for Takeda 3. And I look forward to seeing you there.